Hi, and welcome to Startup Bright episode. We have Abhinav from RentPae this week, and he will discuss with us and explain to us his idea and why investors should be interested in what he is doing. Hello, Abhinav, and welcome.
Hello, Nick. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah.
Let's discuss a little bit about my business. We are registered as a Anant Financial Corporation in Delaware, and we have our first. We have working, and we are expecting to launch our product named RentPae in Q1 2022. So, what RentPae is? RentPae serves the residential rental market by paying upfront for the rental payments and deposits of the tenants to the landlords and providing them a facility to pay in installments with a 2-week grace period in which 2-week grace period where basically they can either miss payments or like having any kind of financial hardship. They can take advantage of those 2 weeks. So pretty much like the 30 days time frame will be in 45 days in case they face any hardship to pay out the rent. So that's how this is what we are offering. But when we talk about we as a team are working dedicatedly to solve the problem of income and pay frequencies. So the gap between the income pay frequencies of these tenants as well as deposit and rental shortfalls. So we can see in 2019-20, based on this COVID situation, there are a lot of issues coming around the rental payments and deposits. So that kinds of shortfall can be filled out with this product in the market, as well as we are also trying to eliminate the fraud and scam issues for the tenants who are either migrating from one state to a different state or immigrants who are coming from any other country to US and renting their apartment like online from the online portals. Rather than going through us, they can eliminate those scam and fraud issues arising in their hunt basically to get to a right person, a right landlord and renting their apartment. So
okay, sounds interesting. I haven't heard this idea before, to be honest with you. If I am let's review this because it looks like it's a marketplace. On one side you have landlords, and on the other side you have people that are renting their properties. So let's go over a few things. For example, if I am a landlord, how do I benefit from your product?
So basically we have 3 products right now: deposit and rental product and the rent product, which are specifically for the tenants. But we also have landlord management portal. So the landlords, the independent landlords up to 25 units managing, they can use our landlord management portal for free, and like they can manage their properties. And pretty much the independent landlord is the segment where most of this kind of population who need the money lives in, rather than community-based housing. But we do serve the big landlords and community-based housing. We work with them to modify the product and give them integration facilities to use our product with their portal. So we working with landlords from all the aspects like B2B as a business to business, but we also work like B2C, so business to consumers in the market directly, like which are tenants basically coming anywhere from the States.
Okay, so the other side of this equation is the tenant. So if I am a tenant in a building that participates in your program, how do I benefit and what do I need to do to actually take advantage of your offering?
So you don't really need to be like, we don't really need to be participate with the landlords to offer a program. We offer a portal where these tenants can directly just come to us and say that I need your rental assistance and kind of basically a rental product or a deposit product. And what we do is like, we take care of it from the day one. We will say that, okay, we are going to the landlords, we will pay out your rents. You have a facility to pay us in installments the way you selected through our portal or a web application, which we are servicing to you. So we really don't need to be a landlord partner to offer our product. We can offer it to any tenant facing the issue, but we can also work with the landlords to partner up and offer the same product throughout his properties if we want to. So it's like both the ends we are trying to capture.
I see.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with this idea, Abhinav? Is it something that personally you experienced, or you saw it somewhere and saw the opportunity? How did you come up with this?
So I was myself a tenant. I was myself renting my own apartment. And still, I'm renting my apartment. But earlier, when I was used to rent my apartment, I see that there is an income pay frequencies. We usually get paid like in every 15 days. And as like I come from a finance background and I'm working on this similar kind of, I'm facing the similar kind of situation. Then I thought, why can't we get a small payments? Because there is issues where like you have to operate your own budgets and you manage other things, plan out throughout a month, but there are people who are not educated enough or probably who don't understand that how to plan out the week or month, so they also face the same issue of income gap frequency. So that's how what I feel. And then I asked my couple of friends who are like, we are getting paid good enough, we have above average incomes in the market, we are not the average income people whom I've talked to. So they're already in a good position, but everyone face, yeah, this is some issue which I think is an issue for us and even for the people who are average income or working in the Walmarts and Targets and other facilities who earns on an average basis, on an early basis. So that's how then I asked them and they are like, yeah, this is something, a good idea, you can go forward and pursue. Then I did a small market survey. And from the market survey for 2,800 people, I just put down my thoughts and the pricing, what we can offer to such a product. And like that, I just did a market survey and there are people, 2,800 responses, out of which almost 80% responses are positive related, that yeah, we definitely gonna need this product and we are looking forward to have something and we are willing to pay even what you are asking us to pay for the product, which is not a high fee as well. So I think that's how this whole thing shape up.
I see.
Yeah.
How big is your team? How many people are in your company? Or you said you're registered in Delaware. So how many people are in your team, and how did you actually find these people to join you?
So we are 9 people in the team right now, 3 developers in India who are core developers who are developing this product, and and basically other 6 people. One other of a marketing head is also from India, but 5 people are in States. And the first thing that I just let you know, like how I approach this. So when this idea came, one of my colleagues' husband himself is a landlord. He understands the market space, and he is a private banker by himself. So he knows the every aspects. I talked to him and he liked the idea. And that's my first co-founder, you can say, or like a operating man partner. And he's my CEO right now on the team. And he himself a landlord. He see tenants facing the same problem. He jumped into that and he said, I'm gonna work out with you and we can work as a team together. And I offered CEO position and he's taking care of my operations pretty much right now when it comes to collaborating and other things. So that's how I met the CEO guy. And he's well talented person. And I think he can support us to grow our business. Other than that, he himself invests in the business. So pretty much everyone, most of our team members have invested their own money in the business to grow and make this idea happen, because we all believe in the idea that there is a problem which is out there. So after that, I reached out our advisor, Benjamin Amsol, and he himself is a lawyer and he himself runs his own LLC and he's a plug and play mentor. So I just randomly reach out to him that this is something I come up with. He said, okay, let's discuss. And that's how it begins. And he's on board. So he's one of our advisor, and with a CMO and CTO. So these 2 people I would like to talk about, because CTO is Harendra, who is my colleague, having 5 years experience working for NIU government, Illinois, as well as he worked into this Comcast and I think British telecom industry. So he knows well versed about the development of the product and he's handling this technological piece for us. And the marketing he's my cousin, but at the same time, this guy is very talented. At the age of 16, he created his own security-based company. And it's a cybersecurity company. At the age of 19, he exited from that company. And he's very smart. He do ethical hacking as well as entrepreneur. So in that terms, he comes up as an entrepreneur. And then he diverted his career to digital marketing. And right now he's a digital marketing guru in India. He also serves and speaks in some of the universities in India. He's well versed known in this particular marketing domain in India. And that's how I build up this whole team and we are working. And we recently onboarded Matt Goldberg, a Silicon Valley legal veteran for 20 years of experience. And this person also comes on the board, and he brings a experience of startup growth kind of a businesses, where he worked with the startup, but also he was a general counsel and in-house counsel for uh, basically one of the public companies in the States. So this is how we build up a good team to work together.
Yeah, I can see how the experience of each of your team members actually benefits what you're trying to do. And I have to say that a lot of startup founders, they have problems or hard time finding a good team to support them and kind of follow with them on their ideas and their vision. So how I know this is I have the sense, I don't know, that this is a big market, but how big the market is actually? Can you
So
give us some numbers?
yeah, if you look up the residential rental market, it's $174.2 billion market, and in transaction volume of $485 billion. Based on the survey which I just told you and our market research, we narrowed down the market, and total addressable market is $10.3 billion, where we can think that there is a place to at least flush our product and at least get the customers on board. And $10.3 billion in the residential units. But when you go to from residential units to, let's say, the transaction volume, the actual market is $124 billion market. If you think in that way, that yeah, because we work on the transaction basis, so it's pretty much $124 billion market we are penetrating.
I see. And what is your let's call it go-to-market strategy? How do you plan to let all tenants know about your service and how they can apply and start using it?
Okay, so before even jumping to that, like I just want to mention one more thing. I think the competition comes people's mind when you see this big market and ask these kinds of questions. So I just want to address that first, then I can jump on that, how I can reach out to go to market. So this market is having 44.2 million households based on the census data. And there is 24 million, which is almost 55% of the market, is independent rentals market. And the 20 million household is community-based market. So the community-based market is already served by a couple of firms. They work directly with the landlords to facilitate their product to the market, but 24 million households which are not served at all, because there is no way they directly work with those landlords. There are small moms and pop shops who rent out their own places, and I believe that most of the people who struggle with these kinds of facilities are living in those facilities in the independent housing. So for us, there are a couple of companies, I don't want to mention the name, but yeah, like who are already there in the space, and they are one of the good players who are working on that side of the business. But when we come in the picture, we serve everyone. So we are B2B, we work with the landlords, but at the same time, we serve the consumers and customers who want to be in our place. So that's how we capture, and we say we differentiate ourselves from our competition and the people out there in the market.
I see.
Yeah.
And how do you plan to get to all these customers? How do you plan to reach out to them?
So initially we are trying to collaborate some couple of landlords. We have, like, let's say DeKalb Association of Real Estates. There are 5,000 units in DeKalb. It's a small county place, but we don't want to be everything over there in the one portfolio. So we just try to be all over the Illinois first. And we know people, and Alab, as our co-founder, knows a lot of landlords who owns hundreds of units and 400 of units. And we have discussed with a couple of people. So that's the one way to start working and entering in this market. Other than that, we will also working for the social media campaigns and social media platforms where we can show our presence once we have in a good space, once we start launching our product. And other than that, we also giving a cashback programs to the customers who are coming on the platform. And if they are there on the platform for at least 3 months using our product, then we are happy to provide some cashback as well as rewards incentive to them. We are also partnering with these co-working spaces and try to reach out with a couple of co-working space companies which are already established. And a couple of them are recently the startups having raised their Series A and Series B. So I think those are the good partners to work with, along with the other people who are like community-based housing and any big property management units.
I see.
Yeah.
Abhinav, are there any regulations that you need to be that an investor needs to be aware of and that you have to comply with?
So when we talk about regulatory risk factors, let's talk about the risks right now. So regulation and compliance is one of the risks, and financial and credit is the another risk from the financial aspects and the regulatory aspects. So when it comes to the regulatory aspects, we already have one of the nationwide known firm we are working with to develop a fintech financial technology product who actually streamline and help us out to navigate the product, which is a market fit, because there are a lot of regulation nuances. What we are initially offering is not what we are offering now. We are trying to give these tenants more flexibility on daily basis, but then we figure out that the regulations are not, they're very stringent. So we narrowed it down on a weekly basis. And so we partner on the regulatory and compliance front for the TILA regulations as well as licenses in Illinois. We are already in the application phase and it takes almost 30 to 90 days. So meeting our Q1 target to launch a product, I think we will be on track and we get the licenses. So that's a regulatory compliance, which is quite stringent. Then when it comes to, let's say, IT and data security piece. So Matt Goldberg, he himself is a SES as well as legal veteran I just mentioned. So he's taking care of our IT and the legal piece, and he's also our in-house counsel and general counsel for those aspects as well as the business decisions. So that's how we are taking care of the legal part, and corporate and investment part is also one of the piece which we have to take care. So one of the firms from the Bay Area, like Gunderson Detmer, we are working with them to take care of our corporate and investment work when it comes to the investors and when it comes to the fundraise situations at that time. So this is our regulatory part, which we are in track.
Okay.
And credit risk also I would like to mention, because investors want to know like what kind of credit risk they are taking.
I was gonna ask you about that next. Like, how do you mitigate the risk of rentals and payments?
So basically we hedge our portfolio, and there is a similar product which we can offer. We have a plan for that to hedge the whole portfolio, the renters which are lending the money. I think we can hedge the portfolio based on our other products which we can offer in the market once we are in our seed rounds or pretty much in a good shape, once we test out the product and be there in the market. But at this, other than that, we also have you can say the AI and the algorithmic patterns for the credit underwriting of these customers who are onboarding. So we won't approve everyone because there are a lot of nuances, but we have to underwrite the customers based on their credit as well as rental profile. So we have our own algorithm and underwriting process system, which is based on AI and machine learning. And we are trying to automate in the future that it understand the behavior and the paying patterns of these small tenants, or pretty much these small landlords and the big landlords, or anyone like who apply for our platform, to give us a convenience that, okay, these people are actually in the need of money, or probably they are good enough to pay us back those money. So we are not serving Section 8 housing pretty much because it's a government based other procedures we have to comply with, and we don't want to be in the part of that situation. So that's how we can hedge our credit risk as well as the customer base which we are dealing with.
Yeah, Abhinav, you mentioned a couple of times. I just want to make it clear. Do you have any attraction, any real customers at the moment?
So we are developing the product right now, and this product it's a big product because there are a lot of pieces and nuances which comes together. So pretty much our product is developed by the end of this month, and then there are some integration pieces where we have to do the customer KYC as well as the processing sides of the money. So these are the different factors which we have to integrate, and we are already in a conversation with the, let's say, one of the biggest credit rating agencies of the US, as well as the other people, let's say examples like Plaid, Amex, and these kinds of service providers. So we are working with them, and pretty much we're gonna launch the beta phase of the product in January for the landlords, but we actually cannot lend out the money or make a customer until unless we don't get the licenses in place. So for the regulatory compliance, that's the only thing, I think, one of the factors which we are just dragging us to the March and or probably April to launch the product. Okay,
sounds good. Let's talk about your investment needs. What kind of help from investors do you need, and also what kind of investors you're looking for at this moment?
So we are in the pre-seed raise. basically because we are looking for a pre-seed money of $600,000 in total, out of which we have already raised 110 from friends, families, as well as the team itself has invested based on their own capacity. So everyone has invested in this company. So remaining 500,000 we are looking from the market. And we are looking not just the investor, but the person who believes in the idea and at least help us out to get our foot into this market. Because I believe this is more like a relation maintaining and raising the funds throughout the period, because I'm pretty sure about my customer base that it can increase within the next 6 months once I get my product out there. But I think funding will be one of the main factors which comes into this business, where we have to grow. And for the growth, we need the money throughout the year pretty much, or we can get some leverages and create portfolios also to plug into this phase. But right now, I'm looking somewhere like, let's say we are offering a 2% preferred equity shares to these investors, and the basic safe agreement, whatever the valuations comes up, whatever they think that we are on the good shape, or they value our company, that what they think that our company should be valued, and we are happy to offer accordingly our shares. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How do you plan to utilize the funds? Do you have a plan about that, and what is the runway that you're looking for?
So for development of the product and getting actual customers, the first customer on the board, we are looking for another $250,000 to just for the salaries, technology development, integration pieces, and getting these reseller licenses, a couple of other licenses for the states. So this is the actual cost which we are extra incurring, we think, other than the 110,000 which we have invested or which we are planning to invest. So total amount of $350,000 for the next let's say by the end of pretty much February around. So we need that another for the next 2 months runway. We need 250,000 to develop and launch the product. But after that, it's all working capital game. So like for the first 250,000, we can onboard at least 200 to 250 customers on an average, 200 customers on an average on our platform, test out the product, get it right, and we are in a good shape. Then now we can go for the seed round. So pretty much I'm looking somewhere around next 6 to 8 months runway for those 500,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That is, I mean, for the type of service that you're offering and the needs for software development and marketing and all that, I believe the amount that you're asking is very in the range, very reasonable. So I usually ask during this interviews, if you have any funny stories to share with us, anything that happened between team members, or when you were approaching a customer or approaching a landlord in your case. Have you had any situations that are that sound funny, or I don't know, embarrassing, or
Yeah, I have one. So there's a store like a Starbucks close to my place, and there is one of the, I think the Starbucks, there is a guy who I think he's a watchman over there, or like close by that some store. So I was like, I think I should go and ask actual people to know what's their feedback. I reach out to him and I was like, hey, like we are trying to start up some business, and we are trying to, do you rent an apartment or own it? And he was like, I own it, I don't rent it. And I was like, okay, but do you have, well, I have 2 properties. It's not like I'm not broke. I'm like, yeah, I understand. I'm just asking a question. I don't mean to offend you. And then he said like, oh, I have another apartment. And I was like, okay, do you rent to someone? And he was like, no, I don't rent to someone. And I was like, oh, I'm just asking because we are offering something to the landlords, the money for those renters who are living in those apartments. And he was like, okay, what you are trying to say? Okay, then it's like, it's quite funny that earlier he don't even want to hear us out, and then later he was like, okay, when it comes to getting the money of those renters and the timely payments and things, when I start talking about our product, he was like, yeah, this is something I might be interested in. And I was like, okay, once we are out there, I will definitely reach out to you personally to make sure that you take our product. So this happens like, yeah, one of those interviews and researches.
do you feel like we should talk about something else? Do you want to share anything else in the interview that we missed?
Uh, Pretty much, I think in terms of we can say the team members, I just want to say that none of our team members are working basically, like, let's say, is on the payroll and working full time at this stage, except the three people who are developers in India. I know this is quite a negative vibe,
Okay,
but
so
I
okay,
just want to
let
make
me ask.
sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me ask you that. That's good. That's actually good that you pay for full-time employees. So let me ask that question.
Okay.
So Abhinav, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that you have a big team, you have developers in India, you have your content manager and social media person, you know how to, you have a plan how to get to market. But my question is, can you go a little bit deeper and kind of describe a little bit more about your team, like who is full-time? Do you have full-time people, or everybody is just chipping in and trying to get things off and running? How do you work with your team?
So at this stage, as I just mentioned, that we have raised 110,000, and which we are pretty much focusing to develop the product and getting things on board. So right now we have three people in India who is working full time on the contractual basis with us. But the contract is in such a way that once we get funded, these three people will be full time on board as our employees and who are leading the project along with the CTO. But most of the management members, everyone is working part time because we can't we can't pay salary to ourselves at this stage where we are investing in the business, and everyone is putting pretty much on an average, let's say me and I can say me and Harinder, the CTO, and me, we both are putting on an average of almost for 50 to 60 hours still throughout the week. So it's not a full time, but yeah, it's a full time if you can say in that way.
Yeah.
So we are unpaid people who are working full time, but other peoples are also at least putting, let's say our advisor is putting on an average of an hour to 2 hours every week for us to guide us out, as well as the operating, the CEO and the people are putting almost 20, 25 hours other than their normal working hours. So we don't have any employee right now in the company, but we do have potential employees who are looking forward and working to make this happen and happy to work full time down the road on this
Yeah.
product.
Yeah, I mean, this is normal situation when you're bootstrapping your own company, right? You can the funds that you have raised, they have to be very specifically focused on developing your product. If you want to do some marketing research and kind of understand your customer better, and all that. Are you familiar with the lean methodology?
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
so
framework. Yeah.
yeah, so it's very interesting to understand that methodology and be able actually to apply it, because that cycle of building a thesis and implementing it, collecting data and going back, that actually is real life, and very close to software development life cycle. So basically, when you have a product that is heavily dependent on software, lean is something that I personally very like, and when I work on projects, I always try to kind of have the mindset that, okay, this is version 0.1, and then we're going to gather some data and improve it, and then we're going to ask some customers for feedback and so on and so on. So it looks like you're doing a lot of that by going and asking customers, potential customers. Do you kind of follow more formally agile and lean, or how do you do your day-to-day stuff?
So what we do is like everyone have their own responsibilities. We have segregated our own work. just like an agile framework, and everyone is doing in their own job. We meet on a regular weekly basis, or like everyone is on the call if required, but it's like we have our team meetings every week, and where we discuss that how we have to figure out each aspects and what are the different feedbacks from each department is coming to us. That's how we try to work, and I want to keep it the same way throughout if we grow. So everyone knows what they are working on, and everyone have their own responsibilities and their own passion, because we are working as a team in a passionate way to make it happen. So this is not something a salaried job. It's pretty much their passion to maintain their own teams and work throughout. So
Yeah,
I
I
believe.
can see the passion in you, and I'm pretty sure the team you reflect what the team is trying to do, and it's awesome to see the passion that you have in a founder. So thank you very much, Abhinav, for giving me the opportunity to talk to you and for presenting your company. And I hope that we will meet again in 6 to 12 months. I want to follow up with you and kind of see your development and see how you manage to deploy this to production, because you made the promise Q1. So we will expect to see your product on the market. And again, thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for welcoming me on this show. I'm looking forward to even speaking to you in future. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I think this went well.